request you to introduce yourself in the chat, your name and your organizations. And also we are going to have a few speakers, but you're welcome to leave questions during the sessions in the chat, or we are going to have a space in the end of the sessions for everyone to speak and to do the questions that you have. I would also like to remind that I'm going to share you our public calendar of events that we have available. I'm going to share it in the chat. So if you have any event you would like to share during the year, please feel free to add it to the calendar. Now I'm going to give the floor to Nati Karfi, that is our executive director, and she's going to welcome us for this year's session. The floor is yours, Nati.
Hi, everyone. Glad to see all faces and new faces here. This is, as Rena and Kat said, the implementation working group of the Open Data Charter. This is our first session of the year. We got a little later this year, but February was a really a very hectic month for us because we were participating in different conferences, which we can then talk about. So glad to have everybody here and welcome back to the implementation working group. I'm glad that we're still in March, so we can call this session one of the celebrations of the Open Data Day, Open Data Month, as we always do. And glad to have all the speakers that we have right now, and glad to have everybody here. So thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. And I give back the floor to Kat, please.
Yes, as most of you know, we launched this Open Data Open House series to coincide with the Open Data Day celebrations, which we first started in 2023 to share what's new, what's possible with open data and the latest trends. We weren't able to organize the regional meetings this year. As you may have seen on social media, we were traveling, as Nati mentioned. We reunited at RightsCon. But you can check out our YouTube channel for past events and how it normally goes, and hopefully we can continue it next year. So today, as Nati mentioned, we do have an amazing group of speakers joining us today. I will let them introduce themselves, but it's Lucas Pretti from Open Knowledge Foundation, Luisa Medina, who is representing Colombia, the government of Colombia, and Mikhail Parfentev, who is leading the Open Data Initiative in Azerbaijan. So yes, I think we will begin with Lucas then. If you can please share a little bit more. I think we invited you to give us a roundup of the Open Data Day celebrations around the world and what you've seen.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and for inviting me, even if last minute. I think it's very important to occupy these spaces and have, I don't know, some institutional tone around the Open Data Day, which is a very decentralized and also hectic celebration, as you know. But we do have like some central organization, and I'm glad to share with you some like top levels, top figures, numbers, and stuff. I don't know if I am able to share. I think so. I'll try. No, actually, no. So I'm just, if you can give me. Yeah, now I see my screens. Let's see if I can. 1 second. Whoa, Zoom is actually. It's asking me to change the settings. I need to go out and come back again. Can maybe someone start the presentations, then I can come next? Then I can just log out and log in again.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
No problem.
I think, Mikhail, then you are next to introduce, or first, if you can.
Okay, let me try to share the screen.
Oh, yeah.
It works?
It works, perfect.
Okay. Well, dear colleagues, it's my pleasure to be here today. I just want to talk a little bit about open data in Azerbaijan, explaining the current state of art, how it's going. First of all, let me speak a little bit about myself. As Kat presented me, my name is Mikhail Parfentev, and I'm a senior IT manager. And back in time, I started working with open data from 2013, so I'm not a new one in the topic itself. Let's look through the following slides. First of all, I just want to show you that in Azerbaijan, we defined the e-government development index as our North Star metric. And maybe all of you are aware that the weight of open data inside the methodology of this ranking is increased for the forthcoming 2026 edition. Here, let me show you the general vision. We are looking from two perspectives on the open data. The first one, like the whole country, we are understand that open data, it's all about the national open data portal, national statistics. It's all about attractiveness and reputation of the country itself. But from another side, like the more practical one, it's all about projects, products, and services which can be potentially be built based or on open data. Nowadays, I'm leading this topic under the Innovation and Digital Development Agency, and this agency has two main roles in terms of open data. The first one as an operator of the open data portal, and the second one is as a regulator of the open data topic itself. So here I just listed some main activities that we did in 2024. Let me just briefly explain you some of them. First of all, we created the third version of the open data portal. For now, it's becoming more like the data management system. We chose CKN and Portal.js open source solution. Also, we formalized the topic itself. We formalized open data in the following strategic documents. For example, digital development concept or AI strategy. Also, we mentioned open data as one of the key elements of digital public infrastructure. We put it in the digital public infrastructure charter. Also, I hold some guest lectures for students to explain them the core concept of open data. Also, maybe some of you know that Azerbaijan hosted the COP29, and I participated in this event too, presenting the open data topic. Here you can see the screenshot of the main page of the third version of the open data portal. Here I just put some key features. First of all, as I told you before, it's totally based on open source software. So we can grant an API access to every data set. Also, we created a separate open data request form to allow anyone to request for any data sets. And we will, on the agency side, process every request that we receive. And also, we created Open Data Store. It's a separate section. Here, we plan to popularize all services that are using or based on open data datasets from the portal itself. As for our main inspirations, here we are looking on the development of the open data like 3 streams. First of all, we plan to continue work with data publishers. It's all about supply side. As for demand side, we will continue to work with data consumers, and now we already received some requests from private companies to join the portal. If I hope we will allow them to join it. It will be super nice to have datasets not only from public authorities but from private companies too. And the first pillar is the management of the portal itself. Here we plan to integrate the portal with other key elements of the digital public infrastructure of Azerbaijan. Thank you for your attention. You can reach me out through LinkedIn or you can write me directly. I will be glad to discuss with you anything about open data. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mikhail. It's amazing. That's a lot of work. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
well, let's reserve questions for later after all the speakers are finished. And if you would like to share them in the chat already, please do. But is Lucas back?
Yes, I am, and I think I'm all set. Let's try
Awesome.
again. Sorry about that.
Gorgeous. No
Let's
worries.
see. Can everyone else see my screen? You can?
Beautiful. Yes.
Yes, great, beautiful. Great. So thanks again for having me. I'm here to talk about Open Data Day from like the organizing perspective. I'm not going into like details on open data and the amazing initiatives you all are handling, but I'll talk about the events, let's say the impact of the event in general. So Open Data Day is an initiative that has been around for many years, as you know. It's annual. We do it in March. It used to be one day. Then since 2023, we officially made these like Open Data Days or a week, so people could fit their schedules into the event. But like there are like some organizations, as you guys, that celebrate Open Data Month, and many times we have this feedback. Oh, we should have like Open Data Day as an ongoing thing. Like, yeah, ideally, yes, but it's so hard to organize all the time. So that's why we concentrate in March and keep, let's say, the celebrations around open data conversations in that month. This is a bottom-up, decentralized event. So it's really started with the community. I was close to this community when it started in 2010. But since 9 years, the Open Knowledge Foundation and the Open Knowledge Network has been taking the role of putting the infrastructure together. And by that, I mean the websites, the dates, the thematic focus, and so on. This year, specifically, we are trying to get this more community-driven again. So we had like many meetings around organizing committees formed by members of the community. Members of the community also joined the selecting committee for the mini grants call this year. So we are, slowly getting back to this community-driven spirits that we had in those days. So we are really providing infrastructure and context more than organizing themselves. Some top figures from this year: we had almost 200 events registered in almost 60 countries. So it's actually huge. If you think if you're organizing events, you see that these are like big numbers. We had 130 applications for the mini grants call, but we could just offer 36 mini grants with some partners that you'll see who they are in a while. For now, we have more than 1,200 members in the global community. And by that, I mean people who are receiving or part of the Google group or the Slack channels. So it's like a sum of those two things that are the main communications channels with the community. And we could list at least 15 languages used in the events this year. So we're really glad of like this diversity, geographically, gender-based like languages. Like so, it's a really huge enterprise, let's say. We had some other stats here. This is the events breakdown by region. So this is something that makes us very glad as well. Like the immense majority of the events is happening in Latin America, Asia, or Africa. So this is not one of those European or US centered events, right? So it's really cool to see, how engaged all those communities are. We always do these top countries, like top 10 countries organizing events. Of course, this is not related to the country itself, the government of that country, but like the number of communities organizing centralized events there, right? So Japan is curiously always, like for years in a row, the country where more things happen around open data. And we have Nigeria, Colombia, the US, Brazil, and all these others you are seeing. So this is where, let's say, the events are more concentrated. But if you go to opendataday.org, you can see all the events in the map, which is a very cool thing to see as well. This is a list of like some national governments that are organizing them events themselves. So this, let's say, the official Open Data Day event for, let's say, the European Union or Tunisia or Ukraine and so on. So this also is a metric of engagement and high level engagement to see that there are national governments that still see open data as a strategic topic and engage in putting communities and discussions around this during the Open Data Day. Same for universities. This is a small list from the almost 200 events. We just got the organizer column and see like which of them are universities, and then just grab some logos, but there are many, many more, as well as local governments and subnational governments. There are lots of cities actually doing Open Data Day events, but it would just be like too much work to put them all together here. That's why we just focus on national governments and universities. And these are the mini grant sponsors these years. The mini grant scheme, it depends on each year. Like we try to engage many partners every year, depending on their focuses or on their interests. So last year, for instance, we had a pool of like people from the Open Knowledge Network sponsoring the mini grants, plus one specific stream for open mapping initiatives by the HOT team, the Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team. This year, we had this focus on the Francophone Africa initiatives. CAFDO is the abbreviation in French for Community of Open Data in Francophone Africa. And they were engaged through Open Burkina, which is one of the members of CAFDO. So we had like two mini grants calls this year, one for general purposes, so you could apply from anywhere for any topic, and one specifically to promote events in French-speaking countries in Africa. This is also reflecting a strategic decision we had in the Open Knowledge Network with the Regional Hubs program we had this year. So one of them is really focused on Francophone Africa, and this is a big entry barrier. Let's say it's like language is a big thing, so we really wanted to promote content in French this year, and we got this amazing partner to sponsor the mini grants. I selected some pictures, so you can actually, that's the thing that most inspire me. That's amazing to see those pictures all these years. I have only 5 for you now, but I'll show you where you can find more. There are like loads of people and communities with this kind of vibes in this event. This is Nigeria, and it's not necessarily the capitals of each country. This is happening in Owerri in the Imo State. This is Thailand. This is Bangkok. Happened a few weeks ago as well. This is a very beautiful event they held in Indonesia, one of the islands. Like it's around coral watch, open data for environmental issues and stuff, like with local communities. It was really, really great to see that happening. This is Tanzania. There were quite a few events in Tanzania this year, but this is also focused on environmental monitoring data. This one in Mexico. So yeah, just got some pictures of like many people together, so you can see the huge, decentralized bottom-up impacts we have. And actually, that's it for me. I just wanted to tell you that like if you go to the Open Knowledge blog, it's like blog.okfn.org, and you search or click on the tag like ODD stories. This is something we do every year. We ask people to report back to us, like describing their events and stuff. So and we publish it on our blog, and that's the source of so many cool pictures and texts and reports and stories about Open Data Day. So that's for me. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Thank you, Lucas. And you had 4 less events this year because we didn't put our Open Data Open House on the map unlike last year. So I'm sorry for that, but congrats on the
Exactly, yeah.
congrats on
Nice.
the numbers anyway. And Christian mentioned this, but I was also kind of surprised that there's a lot of representation outside North America. That's really interesting. I have questions for you, but again, we will save all that for later. Thank you. The floor now is for Luisa from the Colombian government. If you can please take it away.
Hola, muchas
Hola, Luisa,
gracias. Muy
bien.
buenas tardes a
Hello.
todos por acá en Colombia.
Good afternoon, everyone from Colombia. And please let me share my screen now.
Ahí están viendo mi pantalla.
Can you see my screen?
Sí, perfecto. Se ve perfecto.
Yeah,
Vale,
perfectly.
muchísimas gracias.
Okay,
Bueno,
thank you
me
so
presento. Yo
much.
soy Luisa Medina,
Let me introduce
de la
myself.
Secretaría Nacional de
My
Datos
name is
Abiertos
Luisa
de
Medina, and I
Colombia.
am
Esta
leading
iniciativa lleva ya más de
Colombia's
10
Open
años en
Data
nuestro país
Strategy. It is an
y pues
initiative
nació
that began
básicamente
over 10
porque
years ago in
Colombia se
our
adherió
country,
a la
and
Alianza
it
para el
was
Gobierno
born
Abierto
when
y desde
Colombia
entonces pues esta iniciativa pues ha abierto
adhered
puertas en
the
software,
Open Government Partnership, and since then we've supported the principle of transparency under that partnership. These are our 5 lines of action. Today, Colombia has a very broad regulatory framework when it comes to open data. It seeks to have a robust stakeholder ecosystem to get more users to publish their data. We have tools such as our National Open Data Portal with a series of incentives to promote the use of open data. And of course, monitoring that leads our initiative to begin better and better. Excuse me, I need someone to shut off their mic. As I was saying earlier, we have a very broad regulatory framework, and ever since Colombia enacted their Transparency Act in 2014, we've carried out different legislative initiatives. The Open Data Initiatives has very clear targets today when it comes to the use of data. That is part of our digital government policy that sets a very clear line in terms of open governance, and it's strictly related to our national data infrastructure plan. And we've just launched the AI Campus. And of course, we have our national open data guidelines. And all of these regulations have led us to build large infrastructure. As we stand today, we're moving towards a national data infrastructure plan, the purpose of which is to clean up the house, we could say, when it comes to data. In Colombia, the public sector has a vast number of data that requires strategy and governance. And that is why we came up with this large plan. Every single component of the plan seeks to make Colombia a role model in digital transformation, but also on AI. To do this, which is the tip of the pyramid, as you can see on screen, every single component in the pyramid must complement each other and develop. That is why we need public agencies to start working on data governance. We need them to start working on the necessary mechanism for the exchange of data, interoperability, data security, and of course, we need to start managing all the types of data that they are working with. Open data is one type of data, but we also have geospatial statistics and many others. What for? In order to be able to use that data effectively and to translate them into AI products in the country. This is a wonderful plan that we're currently in the process of implementing with our national agencies. And for every one of these components, every national agency needs to make continuous progress in order to attain our goals. Additionally, for us, every stakeholder involved in the process is critical. We need publishers, which in our case is every single public organization, and also private entities with public functions, and also consumers, which are those same public entities, also the academia, civil society, the media, because everyone needs to be on board if we want that to be a dynamic process. We have a national open data portal, which is called datos.gov.co, with over 9,000 data sets, over 1,800 entities publishing
territorial and regional data. And since 2015, when it was opened under a software as a service license that is called Socrata, it is a license that had been recommended by the World Bank in a consultancy exercise we had, and it's worked perfectly for us. It's a license that we need to review every 2 years. For the public sector, contracting is quite a complex issue, but this has allowed us to sustain the platform throughout time with no interruptions. We have data sets of different types. The largest data sets we have are data related to the environment. Temperature, rainfall, that are approximately 165 million records, then databases for public contracts, public security databases that include all the reports filed with the National Police for crimes committed throughout the country. And nowadays, we are also working on a huge project, which is the strategic open data roadmap. Every one of the sectors that participates in the portal today is required to develop a roadmap laying down the strategic open data that every sector must provide. What for? Well, so that it can be translated in effective use of that data. Our portal also has a use section where data reusers may publish data uses and map the different uses that are made of our data. One of the most important strategies we have is the strategy for the effective use of data. Last year, we closed up an initiative that is called Data to the U, where we called every single university of the country to use the data in the portal and try to develop different projects and initiatives based on those data. And we hope that we're going to be able to do it in 2025 once again. We had other types of events with public entities that is called maximum speed. We have challenges for them to improve the quality of their data and hold innovative experiences. Finally, we have different training strategies for open data analytics, coding, open data courses, and this is something that we've promoted in order to build the necessary capabilities in terms of data, because we know that there's a very significant gap when it comes to data. And of course, we've also worked extensively on international monitoring and follow-up of our initiative. We are constantly applying for the different international open data indexes, the OECD, the Global Data Barometer, and right now we filed an application for the OECD World Data Index, and we hope we will be able to continue working to keep on strengthening our initiative. Right now, we are working with Open Data Charter because one of our biggest challenges is the opening data with purpose, identifying the strategic data that is required in every single one of the sectors. And with Open Data Charter, we are working on an agreement in order to create a climate change open data guideline. That guide is going to prove extremely critical because climate change is one of the pillars of our national development plan. And with those guidelines, we're seeking to prioritize opening data in the field of the environment, which is so important for us. And it is an agreement that is going to involve 3 different countries. We are almost launching this new project because if we don't have strategic open data, if the data does not have the expected quality, it will be impossible to have high impact use in every one of our projects. And of course, this is the biggest challenge we have, which is to use all the data available to us so that we can develop solutions to these public problems facing every single one of our countries and our cities. So our north in Colombia right now has to do with the AI. We've just launched the AI initiative this year, and we have in our ministry, we have signed different agreements to keep on progressing on AI, and this is what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luisa, and thank you to all the speakers for these inspiring presentations, especially in these moments that sometimes is in terms of funding and different kind of global challenges. Sometimes it's a difficult moment for open data and transparency and accountability initiatives. It's really inspiring to hear and to learn about what you are doing. I also take this opportunity to encourage everyone that is part of the implementation working group to use this space, the sessions, but also our email and our chat to exchange resources, opportunities, questions you may have. I think it's a good time to strengthen our communication and to share our experience and our lessons. So collaborating, we can make it more powerful. We are going to have two moments now. First of all, I would like to invite the participants of the meeting to share if they have any project or any update that they would like to share. I'm going to start because I already know that here we have Andrea Barenque from Datamorphosis, and she would like to share some updates on a project they are working on. So I give the floor to Andrea first, and then if any other participant would like to jump in, you're more than invited to do it. So Andrea, the floor is yours. You can speak in Spanish or English, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Andrea, I don't know if you're here. Andrea, okay. Maybe she left because I can't find her in the participants. So please let me know if she joins back. We can invite her. So if any other participant would like to jump in and tell us about some project or some strategy you are working on, this is the moment before the Q&A session. Feel free to raise your hand or to share in the chat. No one? If anyone wants to do an update. Yes, Christian, please go ahead.
Hi, gracias, Renato. I'll
Thank
stick
you,
to English
Renato.
just for the translation.
No.
So I'll share a couple from Open North in the chat. So for more of the practical of how do you open data and how do you access your data, we came up with two very hands-on guides. One is on being able to do a data inventory. So if you're an organization or government and want to wonder what data holdings I have, so we have some of that. It's a lot of experience from working with small civil society organizations. And then the second one is a template for data sharing agreements. So if you're working with multiple partners, how do you get them all to, as Luisa said, to share their data, to collaborate, and then kind of going beyond that goodwill, but actually have some documentation so that people can sign onto whatever data initiative you have. So I'll drop those in the chat. You all know me-ish. So just if there's any questions, feel free to reach out.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Christian, for joining the meeting and also share about your work on Open North. If there's any other participant, I think Andrea is, maybe she's back. If not, any other participant of the meeting would like to share some updates on what you're working on? Andrea, I see an Andrea in the chat, so maybe Andrea from Datamorphosis, are you here?
Hi, yes, I'm sorry, I lost my internet
No,
connection.
No problem. You can speak in English or Spanish, and we would like to hear from you and your project.
Thank you. No, I actually wrote Mercedes because I wanted to speak, but maybe like in the next time. But I can like quickly share that we just finished like the first certification. We work with the OAS, the Organization for American States, to provide like a certification for chief data officers in Latin America. So I can work on a text like a slides deck and share it like in the following sessions with you. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Andrea. And I take this opportunity to mention that in the end of the session, we are going to do a quick recap of our action plan for the year. We have been receiving your comments and your suggestions, and it's something we are going to work on collaboratively. So this is also an open invitation. So if any specific topic or discussion we are going to have this year fits your work, you are more than welcome to be a speaker in a future session. So, well, the chat is getting full of resources and exchanges, but if anyone else wants to share anything about their projects, if not, we are going to jump to Q&A. Yes, Magic, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I was speaking. I have my interpretation here. Okay. No, solo quería aprovechar que Luisa
I just wanted to take this opportunity
la presentación
since
del proyecto de
Luisa
iniciativa
launched the
Ciudades
presentation of
Climáticas para
the
contarles a todo el grupo y también
Climate
para
Change
la
Open Data
comunidad
Initiative. I just wanted to
proyecto
share
que
with the
desde
whole
Charter
group that we
iniciamos
at
en
Open Data
enero
Charter
un proyecto
launched
con el
back
apoyo de
January
con
a
Colombia,
project with the
Panamá y
support of
Chile de implementación de
the
la Guía
Andean
Nacional de
Cooperation
Climáticas. Este
in
proyecto
Colombia, Panama,
de
and
18
Chile
meses
for
en
the
el
implementation
junto
of
a
Open Data,
consultoras junto a
Climate
3
Change
países
Open
y
Data,
también
and the
un
team with
equipo
consulting firms
temático de datos
from all
abiertos y
three
cambio
countries,
climático,
and
apoyan
also
como
an Open
gobierno
Data and Climate
invitando también
Change
a la sociedad civil
team
a publicar
is supporting
datos
documents and inviting civil
climáticos. La
society
idea
to
de este
publish
proyecto es
environmental data.
justamente
The
trabajar con la gente de datos
idea
abiertos con
of this
propósito y
project
poder
is
hacer
to
que los
keep on
datos
working
decisionales
on
estén
the purpose of
publicados en
Open
un
Data
portal,
Charter
sino que
so that the
sirvan
data
para
is
la
not
elaboración de
only
políticas públicas
published in a
climáticas que
portal,
puedan
but can
servir
be
para
used for
entender
the
la crisis climática que
preparation
estamos
of
atravesando y también para que la sociedad
climate
civil
change
utilice esos datos y
policies,
ponga
and for
valor
civil
en sus
society to be
decisiones
able to
en
use that
sus propias
data
iniciativas
and
innovadoras.
diesel and
Este es un
valor
proyecto
through
piloto, va a empezar por
innovative
primera vez,
initiatives. This is a
así que
pilot
creo que va a
initiative
ser todo
being
un
launched
desafío
in
esta
3 countries
implementación,
at
pero espero
once.
también
So it's going to be
una
a great challenge
buena
in terms of implementation, but
entrada
it will
hacia su
also pave the
implementación
way
para
towards other
que se trabaje en la
implementations
apertura de datos climáticos.
to keep on
Voy a enviar
working
en el
on
chat un link a nuestra guía de apertura de
climate
datos.
change open data. I'm gonna leave a
Argentina
link to
mencionó
our guidelines.
que también estaban haciendo algo
Paula also
desde el
mentioned that
país, así que me
they were
parece
also
que es interesante
doing
poder
something in
alinear
their country, and I
proyectos
think
que ya se están
it's
haciendo
always
en la agenda,
interesting
que
to
es
try to
estimulen la
align the
colaboración.
projects that
Eso,
we're
Rena,
carrying out
gracias.
in this agenda that is so important. Thank you, Renato.
Thank you, Michi. Yeah, I think it's a crucial moment to speak and really link, as we're doing these past years, open data with specific topics like climate action and gender, and specifically, and this is if you check out our action plan, some new emerging topics like AI and digital public infrastructure are going to take a huge spot during this year sessions. So we can move to the Q&A session. We have a few minutes. I think I already have a question in the chat, and then please feel free to leave any question you have in the chat, and I can take it, or if not, you can just raise your hand and I will give you the floor. But I have a first question. This one is for Mikhail and Luisa. Nati is wondering if you collaborate regionally with other governments of your regions, and I can add how do you do this. So, Luisa, if you want to start.
En este momento, en realidad,
Right
desde la
now,
Alianza
We at the Open Data Partnership, we've been exchanging experiences with other countries, and it is on us to create our national action plan. And under the umbrella of this partnership, we have exchanged with other countries such as Chile. We've also met with Brazil and Panama, but there's no formal partnership as such. What we've done is to exchange experiences. I even visited Guatemala, many other countries, visited Colombia to find out a little bit more about Colombia's experience. And we've received representatives of other countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, but we've had those experiences, we share those experiences that have worked the best for us. One of the most relevant experiences has been university contests and also initiatives for developing capabilities, because it's useless to have huge amounts of data if people do not have the necessary information to carry out analysis, make decisions. So we are working extensively on creating those skills. So we are doing that, as I said, not just as a partnership. Countries come to us and they invite us to visit their countries, and they often come here to Colombia, and we organize a guided tour and share our
Thank you so much,
initiatives.
Luisa. I think it's particularly interesting to learn and to know that you're working with universities and how you try to approach because they are a really interesting stakeholder in the data reuse and to really try to verify the impact of the data that is open. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I will also extend the question to Mikhail, if you want to tell us how you work regionally in Azerbaijan and yes, how, if you work and how.
Frankly speaking, I cannot say anything from the whole agency, but as far as I know, we collaborated with Singapore, Estonia, and other countries. But in terms of open data, and let's bring, how can I say, my own activities, I am focusing mainly on dealing with public entities inside the country. And also I try to disseminate all knowledge about open data through existing communities. We have around 10 most active IT communities here, and I just try to say them all that, guys, please come directly to the portal, look through the old data sets that we have. If you didn't find something, just create the new request. We will be happy to process it, so on and so forth. Let's say I try to increase the awareness of the topic itself together with my colleagues. But if someone wants to share anything or collaborate with us, I am always open for any kinds of collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I'm going to look at the chat again. I have a question from Kat to Lucas. Kat wants to know what type of open data events and projects were most notable in Japan, which seem to have the most events in the map you show. If you can tell us, Lucas.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I actually don't know, as we don't keep a central control of everything that is happening. But I do know that Japan has this, I don't know, a tendency or a good history around open data from the government. Maybe it's culturally related as well, like transparency, accountability, these kind of things may be like, values for the Japanese society. And also, I know that Open Knowledge Japan is a very active chapter we have, and they do lots of things there. So maybe I would say that society in general is interested on that. But I know this is not a good answer. So I just opened, I'm sharing my screen again, the Open Data Day website. And then you can scroll to the
Thank you
the
for sharing the
map,
screen.
and then you can. I'm just trying to figure that out. Of course, I don't speak Japanese, but it's really spread across many cities we can say that there are like government initiatives. There are also some, hackathons, community-driven events. I don't know, I invite you to just explore those things. They all have like this URL, and then you can learn more.
I will.
Sorry
Thank you.
sorry for not being really accurate, but that's what I
No, I will explore. Thank you.
That's great. I think we have one more question in the chat, and I think we have time for one more question after doing a wrap up and telling you a little bit of our action plan. But I will take the final question. It's from Sornitsa to Lucas. Yeah, she's asking if you're aware of any other open data conferences happening. But I think
like the map is a really good source, as you all know, and there's something interesting about it. It's that you can register events throughout the year, so we do not close registrations, so they are popping through the year. Of course, we don't have like a good visualization for when things are happening, but if you go to events 2025, there's like a list view. At least you can take a look at the dates and so on. But we need to be better on that, because maybe this is a good website for like centralized information about open data conferences around the world from the Open Data Day thing, not only focus in March. But thanks for the question.
So you have more work to do then, Luca. Developing the website.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lucas. I think, Kat, maybe I can go back to you for some wrap up, and also we can share with the participants a little bit of our action plan for the year.
Yep, sounds good. So yeah, as we've shared in the Google group, and just to highlight, next month's theme is actually building capacities for open data professionals, training on AI, privacy, and governance. So please let us know if you would like to speak then, or at any future events. You can scroll down to the bottom of the action plan, and we have the calendar. So you could start to kind of figure out your expertise or where your projects fit, and then we could discuss separately. Yes, and then we've updated the action plan with all of your comments. I think we have to give the gold star to Christian. He shared a lot of comments. Thank you for that. We've consolidated your comments into the document, and the key highlights for this year, we want to focus on sharing insights on newer open data trends such as AI and data rights. And I remember from Mikhail's presentation, I think you shared that you had an AI strategy. That'll be very interesting to hear about from someone else from your team or whoever is more closely tied to it, since a lot of the conversations are about citizen-led, right? AI policies. That'll be very interesting to hear. No need to apologize for your opinions, Christian. We welcome them here in this space. So yes, I think I'll share the link to the action plan again. This has been an amazing session. We're so thankful for all the speakers. If there are any final questions or comments, anything, if not, we could wrap up early too and let y'all have dinner, lunch. For me, it's sleep. It's about to be 3 a.m. But yeah, thank you, everyone. If not, it's a wrap. And thank you. I think that's a wrap.
Thank you, everybody. Then we do have a lot of links now in the chat, like the shared agenda, the shared calendar for the question about the events. So you can actually upload your event there and we can all see. So just join our community. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is great. Bye.
Thank you. See you in the next session.
Thank you, all the speakers and Vero.
Thank you.